All right, so let's get into the good stuff now. So we're going to talk about fasting, right? Full blown. We're talking about how you can start to fast as a beginner. Okay, how can you start fasting as a beginner? Okay, so in terms of fasting, so when I'm referring to fasting, I'm actually talking about, so fasting or intermittent fasting. It's basically not eating, right? So we're not intaking foods, right? But we're going to drink. We're going to drink liquids. We're not intaking foods at that point. So it's by definition they call it time restricted eating. I usually like to refer to it to my clients as eating on a schedule. Okay, so you're eating on a schedule. And why I say a schedule is that you know how we can wake up, for example, and we can have breakfast, then we can have a mid-morning snack, then we can have lunch, then we might have a mid-afternoon snack, then we can have supper, and then we can have a late night snack. So we can probably eat six times, sorry. We can easily eat 6 times for the day. Okay? 6 times for the day if we're not eating on a schedule. Okay? So with intermittent fasting, you're eating on with a schedule. So you have what we call the two windows. You have a fasting window and you have a feeding window. So your fasting window, of course, this is the point where you're not eating food, right? You're not eating your fasting window. And then you have your feeding window. So in your feeding window, this is the point where you're actually going to be having your food. Okay? In your feeding window. I'm just reiterating. I know I did answer it in a question above, but I'm reiterating because this is where I'm actually going to expand on this. So when it comes to your fasting, it's recommended for your health purposes that at least you're resting your digestive system for at least half of the day. So at least 12 hours in the day, you should be fasting. The other 12 hours could be your feeding window. Do you see what I'm saying? Of course, if you're able to make your fasting window longer than your feeding window is even better. So the more you can open the fasting window, it's better. So if you can build up your fast to 16 hours of fasting a day, that's amazing, right? So we're talking about intermittent fasting, we're talking about a fasting window, and we're talking about your feeding window, right? And at different stages in intermittent fasting is where you have a lot of the different health benefits. So for example, because we're focusing on weight loss, if you fast from about 12 to 16 hours, that is when your body's entering what we call ketosis, fat burning mode. Okay, you're going to get a lot of the benefits for weight loss by doing your 12 to 16 hours of fast daily. Okay, all right, I'm going to go into the comment section in a bit. All right, I'm trying to go a little quickly so that we can end about 15 minutes past the hour. All right, so in terms of fasting, so now I'm going to answer some of the questions that were above, right, where you guys had asked me how to go about fasting. So to go about intermittent fasting, if you're a beginner, I would recommend you start with 12 hours. 12 hours a day. So let me explain what 12 hours a day looks like. So one of the reminders is that when we are sleeping, we're also fasting. We're fasting by default because we're not eating, right? So for example, if you stop eating at 8 p.m. in the night, or let's say 7, anytime between 7 to 8 p.m. in the night, you stop eating, and then you have, if you're a breakfast person, you have breakfast in the morning, let's say around 7 p.m., then you would have done 12 hours of fasting overnight. Okay? You've done 12 hours of fasting. And that's one of the reasons why a lot of the times you hear they say, don't eat late. It's so that your body could get the benefits of the fast. Okay? Right? That's one of the reasons. So when you get up, for example, and you have breakfast. So if you're going to do it in that way, where you're going to have your breakfast, one of the suggestions I would say for breakfast, try not to eat any refined carbs. Okay? Refined carbs, they actually drain the body of energy, contrary to a lot of the myths out there. They actually drain your body of energy. So I would say if you're having breakfast, if you're going to do it, do not do refined carbs. So you can do more complex carbs. So you could do something like your fruits, you could do something like oats. You can also choose to keep your body in ketosis, although you're eating breakfast. So another option could be something like your protein with your fat. So that could be something like eggs or something like tuna, and you can have a salad with that for breakfast. Okay, so you could do it in two ways. So if you're having carbs, have more complex carbs, which would be like things like your fruits and grains, or you can keep your body in ketosis, okay? And you can have like your proteins, your proteins, your fats, and your vegetables. All right, so that is in the morning what I would recommend for your breakfast, okay? Then now you're going to fast throughout the day. So you're fasting throughout the day. So it means you're not having lunch, okay? You're not having lunch. And then in the evening, you're going to have what I referred to earlier up as your main meal. And as I said, the main meal is when you're having basically your carbs, your protein, your vegetables, everything on that plate. Okay? So as I said, with intermittent fasting, you're not restricted. You're not restricted. So you can have that main meal, let's say around 6 p.m. It could be 5 p.m., 6 p.m. in the afternoon. So then you would have had a good 10 hours fasting during the day, right? If you do it around 5 p.m., 6 p.m., if you do it around 7 p.m., then you would have had 12 hours of fasting during the day. Okay, so you have that main meal then, right? And then from 8 p.m. you stop, eat again, and then the cycle begins. You break the fast in the morning. That's if you're a breakfast person. Okay, now I'm going to explain in a bit what you would have during the period of the fast. So from the time you had the breakfast around 7 p.m. to the time you have the evening meal between 5 to 7 p.m. Okay, I'm going to explain in a bit what you would drink. Okay, as someone had asked me. Now the other way in which we can fast, you can do another type of, it's intermittent fasting, but you can do 16 hours, right? So 16 hours for beginners is also good. So 16 hours mean you're fasting for 16 hours in the day, and your eating window is 8 hours. Okay, so let me explain how that one goes. So for example, if you stop eating at 8 p.m. at night, okay, so for those of you who want to do the 16 hours fast, stop eating at 8 p.m. at night, and you're going to break the fast at midday. Okay, so remember overnight when you're sleeping, you're fasting. So then it will take you up to 16 hours of fasting. All right, you break the fast at midday. When you break the fast at midday, you can have the main meal, right? As I said, the main meal is the meal that has all the varieties on it. And in the evening, you can have your lighter meal. Okay, your lighter meal, as I had explained earlier, right? Your lighter meal could just be your grains, nuts, and all those things, right? It could be another way around. You can say you want the light meal at midday, right? So the light meal at midday could just be your fruits. It could be your fruits and your grains midday, and then you can have the full plate of meal in the evening, right? So at midday, you have one of your meals, and in the evening, which could be around 6 p.m., you have one of your meals. You have your second meal, right? So it's basically, with this schedule, you're eating twice for the day. You're either eating within a 12-hour window or you're eating within an 8-hour window. It depends on if you're doing a 16-hour fast or a 12-hour fast. Do you see what I'm saying? Right? So you're eating twice, one main meal and a smaller meal, right? And this is going to help you with the weight loss, right? This is for persons who want to lose weight. All right? So yeah. Now the other thing I would add in here is that, remember, I stick to the 80-20 rules for myself and my clients. So for the 80-20 rule, of course, you would have what we call cheat foods, right? So they have treats, they get their treats, and they get their cheat foods, okay? I would suggest, if you're doing the treats or the cheat foods, okay? So these are going to be stuff that you really like, right? These are stuff that you like. So let it be, let's just say, for example, it's some cookies. It could be some, like, more from whole grains, or it could just be some cookies. I would say that you do not exceed 300 calories for your treats or your cheat foods, right? And I would say put it at the end of the day. The reason why I suggest it goes after the second meal at the end of the day is because it gives you less opportunity in the day to indulge with it. Because let's say it's something you really liked and you had it early in the day, then you'll probably go back for a second serving, go back for a third or so. But if you put it at the end of the day, let's say it was, it could be some sorbet, it could be some cookies, it could be some dark chocolate, whatever it is that you like. So it could be healthy, it could be something healthy like dark chocolate, right? I would say put it at the end of the day, because then you're looking forward to it. So that's kind of where I use the mindfulness. I'm looking forward to having that at the end of the day. All right? So I would say you can have the treat or the cheat food like about 1 hour after your second meal at the end of the day. All right? And then for everybody, we're ending the fast around 8 p.m. again. And then depends on how much hours we're fasting, we break the fast in the morning or we're going to break the fast around midday. Do you see what I'm saying? Do you see what I'm saying? So I'm now going to get into, yes, so this, I was just explaining what you eat, and I am now getting into what you drink, okay? I'm now getting into what you drink. I'm going to go and read the comment sections at the end, right? So I'm getting into what you drink. So in terms of what you drink, okay? So, first of all, so during your fasting window now, if you wish, you can just drink water. One of the simplest ways to fast is do a water fast. So you just drink water. So you drink water. So for example, between the periods of breakfast, so when you have the meal about 7 a.m. to the meal you're going to have in the evening about 5 p.m., you can have water. If you're breaking it at midday, between the fasting window and between the second meal, you can have water. Okay? Now, I know for some people who are beginners and persons who are used to drinking their tea, their coffee, and their cocoa, I know water water would not be enough, right? Because these drinks, the tea, the coffee, and so the cocoa, they have natural chemicals in them which are actually mood enhancers. Okay, so for some persons, if they didn't get their cocoa or they didn't get their coffee or they didn't get their tea, they start getting little headaches. Okay, they start getting little headaches. So what I advise my clients, I would say have your tea in the morning, or have your coffee in the morning, have your cocoa in the morning, whichever one works for you. You can have those in the morning, right? You can have those in the morning, right? So to answer that question, if you can add to your tea, your coffee, if you wanna put some milk in it, you can put milk in it. If you're not a dairy person or you're trying to decrease mucus for some reasons, you can use almond milk as a substitute. Almond milk actually tastes really nice in those things. I'm actually loving almond milk or any other milk that's non-dairy, or you could use a non-dairy creamer as well, right? Those are not going to break your fast per se because it's not going to take you out of ketosis. The only thing that's going to take you out of ketosis is if you're using glucose, okay? So that's why you don't put any sugar in there. So no sugar at all, all right? No sugar at all. If you don't put sugar, you'll be fine. You're not going to take the body out of ketosis. So those are the beverages that we call low-calorie beverages that you can have. You can flavor your water as well. If you want, you can put some lime in it. It's always good at times, I recommend, just for boosting the immune system, to just have like some lime and water in the morning prior to even your coffee and your tea and so on, right? So those are things that you can do, right? Yeah. So, okay, right. So I'm going to go into the comment section just now. All right, so those are all things you can do. Now, other beverages you can have as well. So I would suggest, let's say for the persons doing the 16-hour fast, let's say more in the afternoon time after they would have broken the fast itself. If you wanted to have some coconut water, you can have some coconut water. Okay, you can have some coconut water, let's say between midday, after you would have had the midday. So let's say probably mid-afternoon, if you wanted to have some coconut water. Those help you replenish minerals because naturally coconut water has potassium, it has sodium. You don't have to do it every day, right? But you can have it at times if you wish to. All right. Now, additionally, for some persons who are now starting fasting, it might be easier for them to fast actually by doing what we call a juice fast. Okay. So if it's easier for you to fast with a juice fast, what you can do, so the meal that you're going to be skipping, be it breakfast or lunch, right? In that period where you're going to skip the meal, you can actually do something like a natural fruit smoothie, okay? Or you can do a green smoothie if you wanted to do that. So a green smoothie in the morning, okay? And you can still have your other low-calorie beverages, but you can do the smoothie, the natural fruit smoothie or green smoothie, whatever you want to do. You could do that to replace the meal, sort of getting your body to gear up for the fast, because during the fast, you're not taking in calories, external calories, okay? So you can do that so that your body can kind of get a gradual used to going on a lower amount of calories, okay? Of course, if you're doing the natural fruit smoothie or fruit juice, do not add any sugar to it, okay? Do not add any sugar to it, all right? And then eventually you can remove it, right? You remove this smoothie and then you can just replace it with your low-calorie beverages, so be it your tea, your coffee, your cocoa, all right? And you can have that as you continue in the fast. Sometimes if you can just take out all the low-calorie beverages and try a water fast. Try doing the water fast and see how your body feels with the water fast. Right? Most of the times people are fine with the water fast. You just have to get used to it. I suggest try the water fast on a weekend when you're at home. If you're at home, if you don't work on a weekend or if you have a day off, try the water fast then. So instead of drinking any low-calorie beverages, try the water fast and see how the body feels.